Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa barik wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Alhamdulillah, we're blessed with another Sunday offering of this blessed month. We have Ustadh Tahir joining us. We had lots of good feedback, positive feedback last week. Alhamdulillah, we're halfway through the Ramadan now. This is a really time for us to review ourselves. Are we actually making the blessing? Are we benefiting from this blessed month? We had some good questions last week, and we've got a few more to carry on from that. But please keep the questions coming. You can either message them on our numbers or send them via Facebook. So without further ado, I would ask Ustadh Tahir to please come and lead us a short listening, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ya ayyuhal insanu ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem. Alladhi khalaqaka fasawwaka fa'adalak. في أي سورة ما شاء ركبك كلا بل تكذبون بالدين وإن عليكم لحافظين كراما كاتبين يعلمون ما تفعلون إن الأبرار لفي نعيم وإن الفجار لفي جحيم آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Once again, may Allah bless those brothers and sisters who are participating online and those who have been, mashallah, facilitating for these workshops slash sessions to happen in order so we can have a more meaningful month of Ramadan and a more meaningful, more pleasurable, a more likeness, more likelihood of being accepted in this month, whichever deeds that one does. Now, following on from last week's session, the fasting with purpose, and even this group living with purpose, I was mentioning, has a very significant connection, a very important connection, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the first command Allah mentions in the Quran. The first order Allah mentions is Ya ayyuhan nasu u'budu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum walladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Baqarah that, O mankind, su'budu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum. Allah mentions that now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a very important thing here, that He mentions the purpose of why He's created us. One of the major reasons of why you and I are living, why we are here. And that is that we can become, and He's created us for this, that your Lord O mankind, رَبَّكُمُ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُم, that He's created you. Ya ayyuhan nas u'budu, that you worship Him, that you worship Him, that you worship Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, Ya ayyuhan nas u'budu, so you get to know Him through worship, and that you become the tattaqun. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So all of you become the people of taqwa. So Allah gives the reason of His worship, the reason of His creation rather, so that you make the focus in your life Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He is given, but that you become a person of taqwa. And similarly, the fasting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in later on in the Quran, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the reason of fasting. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam kama kutiba alal ladzina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here as well the reason of you now fasting is that you become taqwa. So you can see that there's a link that in your fasting in this month, in this blessed month of Ramadan, where one is trying to fast every day in this month consecutively, not just on a Monday or a Tuesday, not on a Wednesday only. It's every day of this month of Ramadan, so that you can become a person of taqwa, a person that achieves the purpose of your existence. So this month has a connection to your purpose of being alive. That is one of the major reasons why the Prophet mentioned that if a person during this month of Ramadan fully performs and acts upon the deeds, that at the end of Ramadan, all of his sins are forgiven. So he's like a reborn person. He is like a reborn person, pure from sin, that he has now achieved another chance, a second chance to live again. So that is the major reason of why a person in this month should really know that this has a connection to your purpose in life. So that is why a person should really reflect upon not just the number of good deeds they do. See, a lot of people go into this angle that by the end of Ramadan, I need to do 2 Quran khatams a day, or 2 Quran khatams by the end of the month. I need to pray as much Salatul Tasbih. I need to, make sure I complete certain acts of worship, which is all good and well, Alhamdulillah, because the Prophet mentioned that the good deeds in this month are multiplied. But if the essence is not there, if the essence of the worship, if the essence of you not knowing the purpose of fasting and how to achieve a true fast, then sometimes these deeds can hold very little weight. Like I was mentioning last week, the sincerity of your deeds are the energy of the worship. It's the essence of the worship, it's the heart of the worship. Any good deed that you do, the sincerity is a must. that sincerity is a necessity. It's like mentioned by Ibn Atala Sakandari Rahmatullahi alayh in one of his books that he mentioned, a very famous wali, that those who do good deeds, many good deeds, without the act of sincerity is like on the day of judgment or coming to the king, the majesty, is like a person who comes to the palace of a king and presents with him tons, thousands, hundreds of gifts, parcels, and says to the king, I have such a parcel for you, of thousands of them. And as he presents these gifts to the king, the majesty, and as the king opens them, it's empty. The parcels were hollow. It looked nice from the outside. It looked like it was a diamond box, so you expect to see a diamond inside. It looked like an emerald jewelry box, so you expect gold and silver, things of value. But rather, when the king opened the boxes of gifts by this person, it was all empty. And in some of them, it was other things that had smell in there, had found like feces and things like rotten eggs as such. Now tell me that rather than being rewarded, rather than the king being happy with such an individual, he would rather be angry. And this person would deserve punishment from the king. Because one, he lied and fooled him and himself that I have brought hundreds of gifts, thousands of gifts for you, your majesty, so you be happy with me, so you would give me land, you would give me your princess to be my wife, etc., etc. But when the king opens these gifts, they're nothing, they're hollow. Well, this is the type I'm giving you an example, is the like of worship of someone who has lack of sincerity or had ulterior motives in their worship. Their worship was heedlessness. They didn't realize what they're worshipping for. They thought they're worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but really they were doing it for fame and name. They came and give charity to people. They came and give dawah to people, but so that people will say, wow, wow, oh, what a person. Such a person he is. That was their reward. That's what they wanted to attain from that. Or they were doing it so they have a status in the community, status in a position to make other people happy, etc., etc. So these people, this lack of sincerity, all that worship had no value inside. You see, the worship they were doing, the ibadat, the dawah, the charity, is like the box outside. But that sincerity would have been the fruit of it. So now imagine the king, imagine the person that comes to the king with just one box, with just one example, let me just give an example, like one gift to the Majesty. Not hundreds, not thousands, not even 10, but just one gift. And inside, when the king opens, it is the most beautiful diamond, glowing and shining. This is the person, as you see, they do one good deed, but it was done for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was done so Allah is happy with me, and it's only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There was no ulterior motives in there. Now the king would love that person. That king would give that person everything, and especially if that king is merciful, especially if that king was the one that wanted that person to be successful in the first place. Similarly, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you do a good deed, it may lack numbers. It may not be 1,000, and it may not be 100. I'm giving you proportion just to give an example. It may lack perfection. So the box may not look that nice, the ibadat, but the sincerity is there, then alhamdulillah, that person is on a right track, because Allah will love that person. And it's true, the Prophet mentioned this in subhanallah in many beautiful examples, like the sinful woman, the lady, she was like doing wrong things all her life. She sold her body for pleasurable acts for people all her life. And one day she sees an animal, a cat, who was dying of poverty, and she gives this cat some food, some water, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives all her sin. Because one of the reasons, she didn't look at the number of deeds, nor did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, He looked at the sincerity of that one deed that she did. And through that deed, it made the difference for her. It made the difference for her. So fasting, going back here, wanting to go back to the main thing, the fasting with purpose, you see, is that we need to look at the bringing back the fasting to its purpose of our life. That now this is an opportunity for me to make amends and make corrections. The rights that are violated. The things that I've done wrong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of His rights, in terms of the rights of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, what were his rights that I wasn't following, and then the rights of creation that we were talking about briefly last week as well. You see, why fasting is such a high level worship. This is very important. I'll finish at this note today. See, Ramadan is the best of months of the Islamic calendar. But why fasting is being given to do consecutively in this month? Because many other worships, like reciting Quran, Salah, and everything normally require you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to do with you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But fasting, Saum itself means to restrain. Fasting is to restrain oneself, is to subdue oneself, is to calm down as such, just to give you paraphrasing, is to calm oneself, to subdue oneself's nafs. Many people have always just limited that to food and drink. Like we were mentioning last week, it's not about food and drink. That's why the Prophet mentioned the one who fasts but does not control his tongue and his his eyes, meaning he still has foul mouth, he still says ill words about people, then all he has been rewarded, all he has achieved at the end of that day was hunger and thirst. Nothing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no good deeds, but he's just been left hungry and thirsty. We heard of this, haven't we, many times, but we don't act upon it. We don't know too much about this. Because fasting is all about subduing oneself, because you're protecting others around you. You're controlling yourself so that even if you get angry and lose your temper, the Prophet mentioned, you tell the person that if someone's making you angry, that I will not say anything because I'm fasting. I am fasting, and walk away. We should be doing this anyway outside of Ramadan, but the Prophet is saying that use this month, this time, to train yourself so that your level of taqwa is. So you bring the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I'm fasting for Him and I'm controlling my tongue, my eyes, my ears from from unlawful acts, my hands from unlawful acts, my private parts which you do anyway, and my feet from harmful acts in this month. So a person is being trained to achieve this taqwa, this level of skill and purpose of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said taqwa, because taqwa is making sure you are fulfilling the rights of people. Like Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani said, taqwa is, and Islam is very simple term, is that one, you fulfill the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your Lord, and you fulfill the rights of creation. In summary, that is what Islam is. If you take something out today, that if someone asks you what is Islam, like Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani say, it's very simple. It is fulfilling the rights of your Lord and fulfilling and making peace with the rights of the creation of people. And one achieves it. This is what taqwa achieves, that you are pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are in the presence of Allah throughout the day and night, and you are doing this by making sure you are not harming the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what taqwa is supposed to engage. Otherwise, Allah could have sent us in, like, the galaxies and the moons, in the astronomical world, they are discovering more and more galaxies that beyond they realize in the universe. That before Earth was very big, then the sun and the solar system, Earth is now that tiny. Then we're part of a galaxy called the Milky Way. So the Earth is like a dot now. That's us who are a dot anyway in this planet. Then they realize there's so much bigger galaxies, supernova, and many, many galaxies, millions, millions of light years away. And this is supposed to be the first heaven among 7 heavens before we enter to the other realm. So it shows you how small we are in this creation, vast creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. But anyway, my point was saying that if Allah wanted to, He could have put all of us onto each and every single planet. And then if wanted to check us, if Allah wanted to test us on our worship, the number of worship and how much worship we can do, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have done this and tested us on that. Okay, Abdullah in planet Earth is doing this amount of worship. Abdul Rashid on Pluto did this amount of worship. And if it was about worship, but it's not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to put all of us on planet Earth. Because part of this test is to become people of taqwa, which is shown through your relationship with people, not just with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know Shaitan failed in this. Shaitan was happy. He was, I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm happy worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The moment another creation came in him, in his way, which was Adam alayhi salam, his true colors came. He didn't have taqwa. He didn't fulfill the rights of Adam alayhi salam. And by doing that, he also violated the biggest right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give myself and all of us the tawfiq, the power to achieve taqwa in this blessed month. And then upon that, the training that we're supposed to have in this month, that we forever make this journey towards Allah a fruitful journey, a purpose in this life being created of becoming one with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by achieving taqwa. So subhanakallah wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
Jazakallah khairan. Alhamdulillah, we've got a couple of questions on Facebook. Sorry, I'm just browsing through, mashallah. There's a lot of good feedback, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. Okay, here we go. How can we keep in the same mind or frame after Ramadan? So basically, the viewers asking how they can keep this mind frame going after Ramadan that we're trying to achieve now.
Mm-hmm. Did you say mind frame?
That's the, yeah.
Yep. As mentioned last week, that this month is a training month. So one thing is, if you know that you haven't fully trained in this month, then you need to carry on training. So if I know that I have like a boxer, to give an example, I think that was used last week as well. So if I'm a boxer and I know I have a fight in June, and my training time was in the May, July, May season, etc., May month, and this is the training month, but I haven't really been training that much. So what will happen is that when it comes to the actual fight, I won't have a chance if I'm not trained properly. So what a person should do if they're not fully trained in the month is carry on with the training. Carry on with the training so that you're ready for the fight. And even if the fight happens, you still keep on training, knowing that it's needed for your success. So the first thing is to know what you need. So as Brother Tabriz was asking the question, was how do I keep that mind frame going that I had during Ramadan, outside Ramadan. Because outside of Ramadan, shaitan's back, you are back in your old ways normally, like most people are. So you have more factors against you. So now the training is more important. So one, if you have that mind frame, then you know that the training is more important, then the other answers will come back to that person, the solution, which is a path, a training course that we teach. As you can see on the screen, propheticpath.co.uk. They are trained mentors to help a person achieve taqwa. They are trained mentors to help a person achieve the 7 levels of sincerity that we were talking about. So you don't turn up to your majesty with hundreds of parcels with emptiness inside. That you turn up to your majesty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with emeralds and diamonds. And then you train yourself under mentorship, and then you can also become a master, like a trainee, and train others. I hope that is answer the question.
Jazakallah, we just had another one from Facebook. How can I improve my concentration or focus during Salah?
So, Bismillah. So in Salah, one of the main things is, see, a lot of people think, why do I have difficulty in Salah and focusing there, is because outside of Salah, you're not focusing. Mainly, myself, maybe yourself, majority of us, outside of Salah, we are not being in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Outside of Salah, we are busy interacting with dunya, thinking of dunya, people, always in our minds and our hearts. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes, time for him to remember him, it becomes difficult. Because even though, for example, Salah is 5 minutes, it is 300 seconds. So every second you want to give that presence. So main thing is, step by step, is keep yourself in the presence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me, He is hearing me, He is listening to me. Keep that thought as much as you can in each posture of your salah. So when you're in the qiyam position, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, when you're reciting that, just keep the thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, He's hearing me and He's watching me. Not saying it, obviously, but just the thought and the belief that Allah is with you, hearing. If you get distracted during that time, you don't worry, because shaitan and other influences are there to try to distract you. That's one of the reasons why salah sometimes have difficulties, because shaitan doesn't want you to keep concentration in prayer. So he does come more active to people during that time. And then try to keep that thought process in your other postures like ruku, sajda, and tahashud and everything. So person should do that step by step, and then inshallah that person can also learn part of the prophetic path, the website. Is also, there's levels of concentration in prayer. There's 10 levels of that as well, of how one can increase their concentration in prayer. Like in the 8th, 9th level, a person is actually contemplating, they are praying in the day of judgment. That's how a person can achieve those levels. And then beyond that, alhamdulillah, there's even something known as Salatul Mi'raj, the spiritual salah or spiritual Mi'raj, the salah that is where spirit also travels. So inshallah, a person can learn this and achieve this as well, inshallah.
Inshallah, one more start. This is relating to prophetic path, just to see the message. The question is that what's the cost of this? Is this like a monthly membership, family membership, what commissions?
It's absolutely free. It's absolutely free of charge. The if a person still thinks in monetary terms, then there must be some cost involved. And the only maybe cost you could say is to take your hand and click on the website, if that takes any time of you. But it's absolutely free of charge. And the reason it's free is because the prophets and the awliya and the mashayikhs taught this for free. Because it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah ta'ala has created us to achieve taqwa, like we were mentioning. So when the prophets were sent, they were sent for people to achieve this. Whether you're a king or you're a beggar on the street, that's what the prophet's job was. So they never ever charged for this. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. They used to say that we only come as a message and nothing else from you. Not even thank you. Oh, thank you. They said we don't even want praise from you. So this was from every prophet, every companion. Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain taught this free of charge. Then the awliya, the salihin, like Sayyidina Abdul Qadir Jilani, Sayyidina Abdul Salam bin Mashish, Sayyidina Imam Abu Shazli, Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tubbag, Rahimullah, Imam Haddad, Imam Nizamuddin Awliya, then many of these awliya salihin. And this also is free of charge. That's the reason if you're wanting to know.
Just a couple of announcements, inshallah, alhamdulillah. As Ustadh Tahir mentioned, we don't have to have a long naseeha. That was in the way of the Prophet ﷺ anyway. There are many naseehas listening this month, but the idea is that we take something back every week that's going to help us. Alhamdulillah, we've got lots of solutions that have been given to us today and last week. And inshallah, we'll have Ustadh Tahir again with us for the third part next Sunday. But also with this living with purpose, the whole idea behind this is that we're keeping you, the community, fulfilling your thirst, helping you achieve what's required from this month. So on Tuesday, inshallah, 7 p.m, we'll have the Imam Sulmani. Most of you from Woking will know them anyway. They're a former Imam of Shah Jahan Mosque. So inshallah, they'll be here with Brother Shawkat on Tuesday, 7 p.m. And if we can just remind you, because there is no charge, we're trying to do this to help you to serve the creation, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's our interest here. So if you can like this page and also subscribe to Living with Purpose YouTube channel, later on inshallah this will be loaded where you can share it with your friends. So if you can ask your start, please to end with a dua.
Alhamdulillah, bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wa salli ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ya Rabbi bijahi Sayyidina Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. اجمع بيني وبين سيدنا محمد بن عبد الله في الدنيا قبل الآخرة. اللهم ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب الميزان. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Rahman Rahim, may you accept our fasting, may you accept any good deeds that have been done by all of us, Ya Rabbal Alameen. May you forgive us for any of our shortcomings, our heedlessness, our ignorance, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen, may you bless all of the prophets from Adam alayhi salam, including all the greatest prophets, and especially the Khatamun Nabiyyin, Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya Rabbil Alameen, and all of the companions and the Ahl al-Bayt and the Awliya and the Salihin. Ya Rabbil Alameen, Allahumma gfir li ummati Muhammad. May you forgive the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May you bless our parents. May you guide our children. May you guide us to the straight path. May you make this the best of Ramadans that we have experienced. Ya Rabbal Alameen, all of the blessed uncles that recently passed away, especially Uncle Masa Qureshi Saab. I personally knew him very well. He was a very gentle person and a very much loved person who knew my father very well as well. Ya Rabbal Alameen, may you give Noor and peace in his grave. Ya Rabbal Alameen. May you give him the companionship of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Ya Rabbal Alameen, may you give sabr to his family and especially auntie and his family that have been left behind. Ya Rabbal Alameen. May you bless Uncle Tajambal and all the other uncles that have passed away and aunties in these recent days, months, and years. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen, protect us from any illness, diseases, this spreading. May you have mercy upon especially those who are suffering in Yemen, Burma, Syria, Afghanistan, Chechnya, Philistine, all of those places where people are suffering from. Ya Rabbal Alameen, may you alleviate their burden. Ya Rabbal Alameen, those brothers and sisters that are doing the work of deen, that are helping people, Ya Rabbal Alameen, may you put barakah in their life, in their rizq, Ya Rabbal Alameen. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين آمين